Gentlefolk, ferals, and domesticated cryptids. I am your host, Optometron, and this is Wonder Bathos, episode 12. We are now 2 episodes into season 2, and it is a very special treat tonight. We have one of my dear special friends, StellarManx. Stellar is a drag king in the Austin community, been doing it for a number of years. We met through an Among Us game years and years ago. We've been friends for a really long time. We have seen each other go through many tragedies and also many triumphs and victories. So without further ado, this is my friend Stellar. Would you like to say a few words about yourself?
Yes. Hello, everybody. As Opto has said, I'm StellarManx. We've been friends for quite some time, and we didn't even meet in person until last year, but
Yeah.
it was amazing. It felt like we already knew each other, like we'd already been hanging out.
Yeah, we vibed really well together right off the bat.
Yeah,
It was amazing.
it was perfect. I love it, and like y'all's community, the community we kind of have together with a lot of other streamers. It's one of my favorite places to be still, and yeah,
is a wonderful, amazing thing. So
it really is.
First question right off the bat. What's up with your name? Where'd your name come from?
So StellarManx has actually been around since I was a little kid. I think I was about 11 years old when I created a superhero character. I loved comics. I really wanted to be a comics artist at one point when I was a kid, or I guess grade school level, but so I drew and made up stories all the time, and I came up with this character that was a space alien cat person who was based off of a Manx cat, but very anthropomorphic. It's really just like a person with all kinds of cat features, and she came to Earth with a crew of other like different kinds of cat breed people. I had never heard of Thundercats, I want to point out, when I came up with this, so this wasn't inspired from that.
Okay. That question was coming. That was coming.
I found out about that later in college, and I was really sad. I was like, oh well, that sucks.
But well, wait. Was your cat superhero? I mean, did they have a cat face or did they have a human face?
It was a mixture. It was a mixture. It was like there were some cat-like features, but I would say it was mostly human. Like she wasn't like covered in fur. She was skin, like in some places. So and she had just a little stub tail because Manx cats. That's what a Manx is. It's a cat named after the Isle of Man, which is a little island off the coast of Scotland. And Manx cats just kind of stumbled into my life when I was much younger. And I fell in love with them. They became my favorite cat ever. And I already loved cats. Cats are a huge part of my life, major part of my life. I could go on for days about interesting, cool things about cats. I'm very passionate about them. But yeah, so I named her StellarManx, first name Stellar, last name Manx. And she came to Earth because cats on Earth were like as primates are to us, so that's like their ancestors. It was really silly, but that's how she started. And she had a giant crest of hair that was purple and neon green, so that from that day on, that became like my favorite colors for my brand. And then later, when My Chemical Romance came out with the Killjoys album, Gerard Way had created an entire world of just this Killjoy universe post-apocalyptic thing, and I loved it. It was incredible. It was very neon punk, and he had a comic series surrounding it. There was a story told through a series of music videos from the album. There were characters that they were playing. It was really cool. I really loved it, and I was about 15 or so years old, I think. 15 or 16, I believe. Maybe, no, I think it was 16. Sorry, that's arbitrary. But,
we got to get the facts straight, okay? There's going to be a test on this later.
there's a fuzzy time of my life there sometimes where things overlap, but
I feel that as well.
I was 16, I'm pretty sure, when that album came out, and I created my own Killjoy Sona, as some people online called it. And around the time I was 16 or 17, I started going to the library more. We started going into the town more. I grew up in the country, way out in the middle of nowhere in Malvern, kind of Malvern, Arkansas, out in the countryside. And we would go into the town about once a week, sometimes less, to get supplies. And excuse me, I just coughed in my
Oh, it's okay.
throat in a
That's
weird way there.
it's not getting cut out. We post these raw, so
Post them raw. That's fine. That's fine. Okay, wait. Walk me back. What was I saying last? I'm so sorry.
You were talking about your persona, your Killjoy persona,
Yes.
because of
Okay.
My Chemical Romance.
Gotcha. So later on in my high school years, when I started having more access to the internet, finally, I joined a bunch of fan-made forums where people did text role plays, RPs of their Killjoy characters living in this world. So I took the name StellarManx for my superhero character and applied it to what was essentially everything that I wanted to be and was into this StellarManx character for the My Chemical Romance Killjoy universe. And I started dressing up like that character immediately. And then one day I realized that character is just me. They were always me. So it was a no-brainer for me to use it as my screen name for everything online, honestly.
Right.
And it became my drag name as well. It always just stuck around like that. So yeah.
I kind of feel like I would have no problems changing my name from Automatron, except for I own like every domain name with that, and just thinking about starting that over would be such a pain in the ass. So no. Yeah, no, I get it. I feel like the names that we chose, when we were younger, we're kind of stuck with. But at least you chose a cool name. You know what I mean? StellarManx is awesome. It's easy to remember. It's iconic. It's recognizable. Like it's perfect. No, I love that. And like the whole, I guess, persona thing behind it, like growing up and role playing and stuff. I didn't know that about you, so that makes a whole lot of sense.
Yep, there was that was already character, and I just went, that's me, and put it right into my drag. I actually dress up as this space cat like persona sometimes in my drag. I find it really fun because that's essentially what StellarManx is, a shape-shifting alien creature that was based.
So when do we get this as the full theme? Like you need a photo shoot with that costume, and like that needs to be like your profile picture and like all your banners and stuff, and like that needs to be when you stream. Now you need to be this superhero. I feel like that would be so
I would
badass.
Honestly love it. I remember the suit that I made for the Space Cat character and the way the hair was, and I'm like, one day I'm gonna just make that costume and try to like make myself into a cat person as best as possible.
That would be incredible. I personally would enjoy that, and I think a lot of other people would enjoy that as well. So speaking
like StellarManx.
Speaking of stream and future stuff, so like what was your inspiration to get into streaming on Twitch, and like where are you going with it? What are you doing? What's your goals and aspirations?
So for Twitch, I actually started on YouTube because YouTube led me into Twitch for the most part. YouTube, I really liked how I could record my content and then edit it and upload it. There was something about that I liked, that process. I feel like even now that my style of comedy hits a little better when it's recorded and kind of edited down somewhat, or I can add in stuff to add to the humor. I'm very, very inspired and influenced by Game Grumps. I'll be clear about that right now. Hardcore. They were actually the ones I like went back to the beginning with them, like even before Dan Avidan came on.
So the JonTron days? You talking about when JonTron was
I was there during the JonTron days.
Wow, I wasn't there for that, but it's crazy seeing the videos and all the like theories and stuff about that.
Oh, it's they were so funny. I really relate to Aaron Hansen's humor a lot, and the way he plays games and how he reacts to them. we were very similar in that, and they just made it feel feasible that you could you could do something with online creation, with let's plays, with YouTube channels. So I thought, I this is something I really want to do, but I put it off for so long. I finished my first degree that I have ended up not doing anything with currently. My second degree was in film and media, and I was focusing a lot on being a content creator online, a vlogger, a podcaster, um, and most importantly, no, I guess importantly, but a let's player. That's what I really wanted to be, and I still am that way, a variety let's player for the most part when it comes to online content. uh I would say I really enjoyed having co-hosts with my let's plays. I really liked having another person. It
Well,
really
yeah,
just helped keep things along. I work
yeah,
I
helps to
can
have.
hold the fort down, but I definitely do better when there's immediate live banter. Like if you're hosting a show live, which I do, um, you actually have the audience right there. Chat and audience in person are such two totally different
Right.
experiences
You
for
can't look
entertaining.
yeah, you can't look chat in the eye. Yeah. And I was going to
You
say
don't
like
know if they're laughing or not. You can't look at them and be like,
right.
"Hey," you know, and really engage with them. It's so different. And
It kind of gives you a little bit more freedom though cuz like you can just imagine
yeah,
like the chat's laughing and having a good time. But when they are vocal, I'm definitely the same way. Like I am at my peak and at my best when I have something else to play off of. And so like having a co-host or having somebody to bounce words back off, or if chat is just
yeah,
scrolling really fast, having that to just bounce off of definitely
yeah.
makes the dynamic a little bit more palpable. You know what I mean? So
Yeah,
I get that.
absolutely.
I
It
definitely
it
understand that.
is, like I said, I can hold down the fort because I've done a lot of work and studying with stand up, so there is that there, but I definitely see an improvement in just even just as an individual. I for some reason my comedy just seems to come out and hit a little more and a little better. Like I'm kind of challenged and encouraged by having a partner to keep up with. So I started out that way, and it was really fun. It was really great. The person I started out with, we really meshed really well. And sometimes we had other friends on. The name of that channel, which I don't think exists anymore, was called Fat in Pajamas because
I love it.
that's what I did. I was just like I was a cute little fatty at the time in my pajamas, my jammies, playing games and yelling at them and having a good time.
So that was the YouTube
Later,
channel or
it
the
was a
Twitch.
YouTube channel.
Okay.
Yeah. And then I think that was 2016 is when no, 2015 I started that. And then I started a new channel that was just my name, StellarManx. I would upload just stuff that I made at my university, little videos here and
Right.
there, some time lapse pieces, nothing major. I ended up uploading a podcast that I started doing in college. It was kind of my senior project, if that makes sense. Excuse me, I'm taking a
Right.
big gulp.
Oh my god. I love it.
Stay
I love it.
hydrated,
That is the
folks.
biggest
Take a
bottle of
break.
water I've ever seen. You might as well have pulled
It's
out the big jug of water that they have with like the little tiny paper cups that you can't ever get it back into the thing. You just like took a sip out
and
of
it's
one
so
of
much more
those.
impressive because of how my camera is. But like getting the individual bottles, I'm slightly passionate about this. Getting the individual bottles honestly is so much more expensive for less water, and there's like more plastic buildup
Right.
quickly in the
Right.
trash can. So I
I'm
just get
guilt
the
we're
individual
guilty.
jugs.
We are I totally understand that, but we are so guilty of it. We get the smaller
I
water bottles cuz it's like
I
I don't know,
understand though. To be
easier to
fair, I do a
travel
lot of
with.
work from home, so yeah, no,
Yeah.
exactly. I understand that. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, yeah,
Wow.
so I started a podcast called a visual video podcast called Casual Sex Talk, and I would have people on every episode. We would talk about like I would choose a topic anywhere from uh learning about different genders to we had an episode about pregnancy and what like really goes on with that, and things that a lot of people
That
don't
was
get to hear about.
so much tamer than I thought you were gonna
Oh
go.
no, I'm starting out on the tame end because we do work our way up. Because there was an episode on anal sex health, because like,
Okay.
you know, it was a lot of stuff that I was like, things that aren't being taught to people who are like queer and trans and
Right.
intersex people, who they don't get taught that in sex ed in school. It's hard to find accurate, safe, correct information online on your own.
Right.
It's not easy for these people to find people they feel like they can confide in, if they're even out at all.
Right.
So I wanted it to be a little space where me and the guests would do a lot of like genuine research, like hitting the books, you know,
Right.
not
Right.
just a little silly article here and there, like actual detailed
No, that's
journals and
awesome.
studies.
I just
Yeah,
thought it was
we
funny
went
because
hard.
no, that is so cool. But I expected, you said I had a podcast about sex talk, and we talk about everything from like blowjobs to rim jobs.
Well,
So I
yeah,
thought
like
you were
with the
gonna
anal
go
sex
with
one, kind of with that. We also
yeah.
talked about circumcision. That was actually one of my more favorite episodes. God, I don't know. There was honestly a lot of stuff. Definitely a lot discussing advances and progress in transgender medical transitioning, because
Right.
there's just so much that America doesn't talk about.
Right. That you can't look up online and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
I can
So
understand that.
I wanted that to be a space where it was still casual. It was still fun and casual to an extent, where we could just talk about it and even share our opinions. And it was a pretty enjoyable thing that I made. I did take down some videos because uh, new information comes out, things change, terminology changes. So there were some that I switched to private, because I'm like, there's information that's no longer correct
Right. Right.
in this video, so I don't want to spread misinformation.
Well,
But
good for you for
yeah.
not leaving it up and having the wherewithal to go take it down. That's awesome as
Yeah,
well.
yeah, and
The due
it's not like
diligence.
I'm being shady about it. It's just like, I just don't think that's safe to put out there, you know.
Right.
So yeah, and I after that, I started hearing more friends of mine who started out on YouTube going to Twitch. I would watch a lot of those friends on Twitch. Tanuki Dan being, I think, my first one, and then I branched out.
He's everybody's first.
He's everybody's first. Ooh,
Everybody's
he's the
first.
Twitch bicycle.
He is. He is. Dan's the Twitch bicycle. I'm tweeting that after this is done.
He really helped me a lot with, like, learning how to start a community and stuff. It was really cool, and like, I've since then been able to kind of navigate my own way, find other communities that I work with really well, which is how I got into one of the best things that ever happened to me. Level Up is the stream team I'm a part of, founded by Jeremy Carey and Angina, and it is filled with incredible people that we do seriously consider each other family. We really pulled through with each other over the pandemic when this team was made, and for those who follow me and watch me, you know how passionate I am about this team and the things we do, from the fun community events that we have to our massive charity events. We try to make as much positive impact as possible while still challenging ourselves to grow in as many ways as we can. It's a beautiful place, and it's just become one of many wonderful experiences that I've had in Twitch. On the other hand, there's a lot of bad experiences I've had with Twitch.
Yeah. I can only imagine.
And, I don't want to dive into it too much, because I think it's really just more of the same, discrimination issues, or how algorithms and stuff work. And, just it can be completely overwhelming, because when you're hosting a show in person, you are just on the stage entertaining for the most part. You are not running the lighting, you're not running the sound, you're not setting up the stage and taking it down. that you're not having to moderate the place because there's security in the venue. You have one job to really focus on, and everybody else is kind of taking care of their jobs. But when you're streaming, you're doing all of that on your own.
Yep.
You're moderating pretty much on your
Yep.
own. Sometimes you're running your sound, your lighting, your camera work. You set up your backgrounds. It's hard. It's stressful. It's overwhelming, and it's gotten easier over time. And I do still love entertaining through it, but I will say I prefer recording and uploading, I think, over streaming. I think that's what I like. I like editing. I like finding comedy through editing. I
Well,
don't know
I
if
think
that makes sense.
no, it does. It makes total sense. There's a lot of stuff that you could see it have a clip and it doesn't look like anything, but then you go to start editing it and you're like, well, if I add like this little thing in here, and then it totally changes the
Yes.
context and makes it super funny. There's a lot of discussion about that, like the difference between YouTube and Twitch, because Twitch is a live environment, whereas YouTube you can curate and kind of make it what you want, as opposed
Yeah.
to going in on Twitch guns blazing, like, all right, this is either gonna be awesome or some shit's gonna go wrong, let's go, you know.
Yeah. And the biggest reason why I haven't gone back to YouTube to do that, some of it is time and energy, but even then, if I felt like I would have some feasible way to success through YouTube that would make all of the work that I put into it worth it, then I would be going back to it. But I really don't see YouTube as a place, especially not now, um, for me to like be able to grow and
Oh,
I don't
it's
know.
impossible. It's impossible
Yeah,
now. Like,
yeah,
even
it doesn't seem feasible
oh
anymore.
man, yeah, it's, well, I mean, kind of like what we were talking about on stream earlier with Twitch. It's really hard to get eyes on you in the beginning unless you know somebody who is like that you're supporting, that's like gonna turn around and raid your channel and kind of put some new people on you. YouTube works kind of the same way. Like, you could spend $1 million making a video and put it on YouTube, but until a few people see it that can then tell other people about it, I mean, there's a chance that nobody's ever going to see it, and it makes it really difficult to grow. It's excuse me, woo, I burped. It's just I mean, it's crazy for any content creator to blow up on either one of those platforms unless you have something that you cannot find anywhere else,
Yeah,
and people know.
yeah, and I think it's like for me where a lot of my failures came from with I did grow, like I was progressing pretty quickly, for what for what you can, starting out with just a small community. But I let a lot of life stuff get in the way, so I took a bit of a break. And that's like you hear streamers say all the time, you take a break and you lose so much.
Yeah.
It just happens, and it
Pe-
sucks,
people
but
people love to consume content. If they find something they like, if they stop consuming it, then they're gonna move on to something else. And so, like, it's hard to keep people's
yeah,
attention, for sure.
and then after that, thankfully my drag in for like IRL in person stuff picked up, which I will say, me going to Twitch, especially during the pandemic, when I decided, like, no joke, I'm doubling down on drag, I'm doing something with it because I am extremely immunocompromised and disabled. So when the pandemic hit, I could, I could very seriously die. I could very actually seriously die soon. And it wasn't necessarily terrifying. It lit a fire under my ass of, what am I doing? I've been so miserable in a crappy job that I had before the pandemic. I was like pushing down all kinds of dreams and things and keeping my drag kind of to myself for the most part. Sometimes working with Tanuki Dan, who helped get my drag online for the first time, doing a music video content for him. And I just decided, like, I'm not gonna fuck around anymore. I can do drag as a passion and a career. I'm going to do this, and I'm going to to just finally get this Twitch thing going and do drag online. And it led me to so many incredible places and so many incredible people. And my goal with it was I want this channel to help build my reputation and my brand up in drag.
Right.
That was the purpose. I want to start doing drag as both a passion and both a career. Performance is the job, drag is me, is kind of
Right.
how I see it. Or entertainer, whatever you want to call it. So I would say I've been very successful in that with that channel, that what I do with my Twitch really did boost me with drag for in-person gigs here in Austin.
Right.
And
I was gonna say we've gone through like the whole timeline. So like, what projects are you working on now? Like, where is this newfound life taking you?
Well, I'm really excited to say that after after 2 years or more at this point of having the concept for a very specific entertainment show that I wanted to put on, that I wanted to create, and I put so much thought and work and detail into it, kind of my heart and soul. We talked about it a little bit during the stream. I have a drag show now called Clickbait, a meme-themed show where touching grass is overrated.
So
It's there's no other show like it in the city, and I'm very glad for that, because I'm like, I don't want anybody taking this idea.
Right.
This
Right.
is something I love. I'm with a troupe called the Boys of Austin, a wonderful drag king, gender diverse troupe. Support your drag kings. They often get overlooked. And support your drag creatures and drag babes and theys. Just saying, there's so many different gender spectrum.
Right.
Okay, that side note's over. Uh, so yeah, my current project is I finally made that happen. Last month was my first show of Clickbait, and it went over so well. It had a great reaction from everybody, wonderful response. It was so much fun, and it still feels a little unreal that that's happening. I'm having the second show on March 8th. I'm very excited for that. Hopefully that doesn't date this
No,
too badly.
no. Well,
Oops.
this will come out Wednesday, so it's fine.
Oh, hell yeah, perfect.
Yeah.
It's a cryptid theme show, so prepare for a lot of
And if you watch this,
that part of the internet.
And if you watch this after March 8th, you should still try to find video clips and stuff of the event.
Oh yeah. If you just find StellarManx on Instagram, and that's where you'll see stories of it as it's happening.
Your fucking Instagram is bussin'. I gotta say, dude, I love your Instagram so much. Every time I see your post come by, it is such a joy.
I go off. I'm in the stories now. I'm moving up with the times.
You are. Remember us little people. Remember us little people when you're like hosting these big reviews and stuff. In like New York City.
Of course I would. Of course New York City. I'm sorry. Okay, I started watching What We Do in the Shadows, the TV show, last year, and I've become a little obsessed with it.
It's so good, dude. Matt Berry, everything that man does is gold. I love Matt Berry so much, dude. He's so good.
I have a drag nephew who does Matt Berry Drag King. Well, for Laszlo specifically.
Incredible.
And he does such a good job with it. And my drag big brother does Nadja, and they will do they've done a duet together twice now in drag. It's hilarious. It's beautiful.
That is wonderful.
Yeah. We're a bunch of nerds.
You guys ever tag Matt Berry in that? I guarantee you he would love that.
We should. I was so sad, speaking of that I was really sad that Will Ferrell wasn't on Instagram, because I do a Buddy the Elf act that I did live this last Christmas, and I'm like, I really wish Will Ferrell would see it. He's inspired so much of my comedy, and I really just summon the spirit of Buddy the Elf to that stage. It's
tag him in it on Twitter. Just get your best little clip and just tag him in it.
Yeah, that would be good. Good idea there. Moving forward, I guess. Sorry, I realized I got caught. I could talk about memes and online shit and
Oh,
comedians all day.
if
I love
if this
comedy.
if this is the first episode that we talk about one topic the entire time, I mean, I am totally fine with that. We can talk about whatever. That's the whole point. There's no oh shit, we're like, I mean, there will be like, oh, we're running out of time at some point, but there's not like,
Right.
oh, we need to talk about this, this, and this before the end of the episode. Like, we can talk about whatever,
That's
dude. I
fair.
love it.
That's fair.
I love it. So where would you like to take this conversation from here?
Well, I will give like I guess a couple of my goals, you know, just to kind of round that off.
Yeah. Yeah. Let's see.
I know that going forward, I'm sticking to streaming mostly because of my stream team and collaboration streams like we had. I really, really love doing that. And I think
Yes.
that's where I've found my balance of joy with Twitch, because it was rough on my mental health for like quite some time. Like I just couldn't
Right.
get into it and enjoy it as much anymore. So I found a lot more joy with doing things with people on stream, and that's really helped bring me back into Twitch in a positive way.
Right. For me, it's the same. I mean, I enjoy the variety. I do. My favorite thing is to play games with other people and do the co-op stuff. It is my absolute favorite thing to do.
Yep.
But it's a totally different energy with this one-on-one. It's like a lot more intimate than, say, if we had 4 people playing a 4-player game, or like if we had 15 people playing Among Us. They're great.
Yeah.
They're awesome in their own respects, but it's a totally different experience. And I also enjoy, you know, doing it by myself sometimes, because I like, you know, I feel like, oh, well, now it's my time to shine, and let me, you know, put on my best self, and I can be star of the show. You know, I think everybody loves and appreciates that, you know, for themselves.
Yeah, absolutely.
But definitely the co-op is my absolute favorite, because this is time that I always find myself wishing that I had. You know what I mean? Like, I always like, oh man, I miss I miss Stellar so much. We never get to do anything anymore. And like, I always say, like, we're gonna make time to do something, and then we never do. This is that, you know, we're making time to bond and spend time together, and like that's what this is all about. I love it. And I can talk to you and ask you everything that you have going on in your life and what you're doing and all these amazing projects, and just learn new things about you, you know, like your furry history.
No, yeah, I am. I'm really big into the Neko stuff, Neko girls. I mean, I'm more of a Neko boy.
Right.
I love cat people is really what I like. I think that's fun. I don't do the fursuit stuff. It's definitely more anthropomorphic.
Right.
But I love that ever since I was a kid. And I think a big reason why I gravitated towards that, like for instance, Yoshi being my favorite character in Mario to like a passionate, weird degree, and liking games like Spyro over something like Tomb Raider, is that as an intersex and just non-binary kid in general, I didn't really relate to like the genders that I would see on screen. Like, all right, you can be the conventional idea of an average man or the conventional idea of an average woman, and I would get really excited about like the more animalistic characters like that. Like, I guess that was my brain of like grasping at something that was different. And now it's a joke online that Yoshi is non-binary because a lot of people apparently did that growing up too, kind of connected that with him. But yeah, I think also going forward, drag becoming full-time is something I really do want. I think it's feasible. I think it's real. I think that it's part-time right now, and I am excited to learn and grow, and it's a lot, but I love it. I actually do love it. Sometimes I have a mini breakdown while I'm putting on my makeup because I'm running behind. I'm like, I should just quit doing drag, but everybody does that in the drag community. So
yeah, I don't think that's just I don't think that's drag exclusive. I think anybody who is doing any sort of entertainment or
Streamers.
any, like, I mean, not just streamers. I'm sure like actors and stuff too are like,
Oh
oh
yeah,
man, I'm not good at this. Like, I shouldn't do this anymore. But then like they pull through, and I think everybody just goes through that funk. But
absolutely.
I'm saying from the bottom of my heart, and it's not just because we're friends and because I love you, but I honestly think that if I knew anybody that had the capability to be able to pull it off and do it, I think it'd be you. I think you have the drive and the dedication and the heart and the creative sense to make it work. And I think that your first show, going incredibly well, I think is just the doors just opening for you to be able to follow your dreams and do what you want to out of life. I think
That's what I hope for. That's
you
what
deserve it.
That's what I'm going for. I want to give people a good time because, like I said during the stream, we are surrounded in darkness, and we have to fight that. We have to be aware of it, and finding camp and comedy and laughter in this show that I've created, the space I've created. I know that I'm good at comedy. I know that I have strengths and weaknesses in
Mhm.
helping people, and comedy is one of them for me, and I'm using my skills in a way that I want to remind people that despite all this other stuff going on that we do have to be aware of and take care of. um, it's okay to embrace joy as well. That is extremely important. We can't let anybody take our joy, trans joy, uh, non-binary joy, intersex joy, joy for everybody that's marginalized and attacked and oppressed by this country. And I'm very privileged,
I
and
can't
grateful for the
wrap
space that I
I
have.
cannot wrap my brain around how many people have a problem with it, dude. It fucking hurts my heart. It hurts my soul. Like, I literally cannot. Like, these people are not fucking human. Like, they just, like, where you've led an entire life. You have family and memories and friends, and like for you to think less of anybody because of their life choices is just, or like just who
it's
they are in
it's
general. It's like
bizarre. It's
blows
a
my mind.
willful ignorance. It's a willful ignorance and a rejection of their humanity, and that's what makes it so painful and scary at the
See,
same time that people
I,
are even capable of that.
I think of it because like nobody fucking is born like bigoted. You know what I mean? Like,
No,
it's a
yeah,
learned behavior. It's definitely taught. But even with some of these younger crowds, man, I mean, like, they grow up, they go to school, they have friends, and like are associate with people, and like how do they not just immediately like, oh, my family is fucking stupid and wrong for this, like like
it's
these
so
are
hard because
people.
conditioning. It's conditioning. There is a conditioning. Uh, like I mean, in every society, but it can be small scale where it's in the home. Like I grew up in some now I see as wild circumstances. But back then, that was so normal to me that I didn't question it.
Right.
And it there's still breakthroughs I'm making in modern society and what community is like. I used to joke that I'm basically feral. Um, yeah, so yeah. I'm like, oh, this is going to be I'm going to go on too passionate of a rant if I'm not careful.
You do not feel like you're not allowed to. If that's what you want to do, you're more than welcome to. Or if you feel like it's too deep to get into, I also respect that. Again, this is your show. We're going to talk about whatever you want to talk about, and if you if you feel the need to jump up on the soapbox, then I'm here rooting for you. You know.
Soapbox, that's one of my emotes, soapbox, because that happens. I'm just like, here we go off on this tangent, and folks will just spam the soapbox emote in chat. I'm like, I
Right.
know, I'm gonna keep doing it. We live.
Yeah.
We live for it.
Yeah, you can't. I mean, you can feel however you want to feel about stuff, but you can never take away my ability to feel things and talk about them. You know what I mean?
Yes, yeah,
Like,
exactly. And feeling things. It's okay to feel the bad stuff, and it's also okay to feel the good stuff. Again, I want I like making people laugh, and I like creating spaces where people can feel comfortable enough to be themselves. I try to work hard at that. I sometimes do fail, but I try to grow from that, learn from that, and do better because I'm passionate about that. I don't think that I would deserve the position and space that I have right now if I wasn't dedicated
Right. You
to
know,
that.
Beeb said something to me a while back that is stuck with me, and I'm going to paraphrase the best I can, because for the longest time I've always said, hey, like, I want my community to be a safe space. You know, I want it to be a safe space for anybody to come in and be who they are. And it wasn't in regards to that, but I just saw a comment where Beeb said something like, no space is really safe. Like,
Yeah.
you can never guarantee a safe space. All
Yeah.
you can do is say that you're going to try your best,
Yes.
and do the best you can by your community to, you know, weed out problems and keep it as safe as possible. But you can't really promise that it's ever going to be like 100% safe. And I was like, wow, you know, like,
No, that's
that makes,
absolutely true.
yeah,
I totally agree with that. I actually said that at the show, that like there is no safety anywhere for us technically, clearly. I
right,
mean, there isn't, and that's why I say as possible. Nobody is going to feel perfectly safe anywhere as you know, any marginalized community. You just do the best you can, like you said, to make it as comfortable as possible. I try to say comfortable nowadays and less safe, because it is almost like it comes with a pain within itself, because you know that's not the case.
right, right,
Especially after the horrible things that have happened in uh, gay and queer uh, clubs and spaces. It's scary to realize again that that's right, we're not even safe in here, and that's startling, and it takes so much strength, and I admire this for all of the people who are still going out to drag shows and going out to community events for queer people, because that takes so much strength, because we're scared, we go out there and we might not come back home, and that's terrifying. I hate to bring that down like that, um but it's the reality of the situation, so I just do what I can to make it as comfortable as possible and as best as I can, and I know one way to do that is find the joy, find the comedy, find the laughter, because that's never going to stop. It's inevitable, and we should embrace that, and it's a good thing. Otherwise, what are we even fighting all this for? We're
right.
fighting for joy. We're fighting for that love and that life.
I feel that it hurts. Like, I'm processing. It hurts. It just hurts my heart that anybody has to go through any of the stuff that we've been hearing about. Like, I fucking cringe to think that my son is going to go to school someday, and like, I'm gonna be worried about the things that he's gonna hear and see at school, you know, because I feel like, as a place of learning, like, it should be a place where people can fucking be themselves, you know,
And be safe too.
and be
Safe
safe.
and themselves. That's it's again, there is no safe space. These places that should be the safest aren't. And that is shattering.
Yeah.
But we keep trying. We can't on an individual level necessarily change the world, but in a way we can, because we can control ourselves in the world directly around us, and the decisions we make and the actions we take, uh they affect the people close to us, and then that affects their worlds, and so on and so forth, and it's this rippling effect is kind of how I see it. I don't know. That's kind of, I guess, just how I take things and do my best to make the world a better place. And sometimes I'm not hopeful,
I
but
mean,
that's a part of the process. That's a part of this process.
they make it very hard to be hopeful. I mean, especially like here in Arkansas, dude. Our fucking senator, like, oh my god, dude.
In
I hate.
Texas, even like Texas
Ugh,
fucking started this shit. Sorry, the
dude.
cursing out of there, but yeah,
God.
yeah. No, I mean,
If Texas cedes and
mm,
like wants to break off from the United States, you're coming back, right?
Oh yeah, I mean
Okay.
the goal is to get better and more established with my drag here in Austin and have more and more solid connections in other places so that I can pick a place to move to and not have to start all over with my drag there again.
Right.
So
Right.
like, you know, money of course is a factor, but we're like another couple of years and who knows what could happen. Maybe we end up staying because it doesn't go completely tits up. uh, I try to have, you know, some hope to some extent, prepare for either outcome. But yeah, there's a lot of states that are struggling and suffering right now, and it's really important. I say now more than ever. I feel like I've said that after every major issue and tragedy, but it is like it's important. It's always been important now more than ever, if that makes sense.
No, it does. It
Um,
makes total sense, and I really like your ripple effect analogy too, because I feel like I've always felt that way. You know, combating any type of hate. You know, it's like even if you know that you're right and they're wrong, and you feel like justified in violence, you know what I mean? Like you were just like, oh man, these people are like such assholes, and they're like they hate they hate discriminately, and you're like, man, I wish to just punch one of these people in the face, but like it's not
that's
gonna fix anything. It's not gonna fix anything. And again, we talk about just it being like a learned behavior, and kids learn from their families or from their friends' families or however they're raised into it. And like, how do you combat that? And like really showing
yeah.
love is not always gonna work. You know, it's not gonna work even half of the time, but it may work sometimes, and you're still getting little bits of progress. You know, I
Yeah.
one big thing that bothers me is how much representation there is in popular media now, and how many people are still against it. And I'm like, dude, almost every TV show and movie you watch has characters
They're
that are
trying to
represented,
expand.
and like that you have a problem with it, like, but you still watch these shows. So like, why are like, what is your fucking damage, you know?
You know, it would be more, it would be so much more expansive right now too if there wasn't fighting, because clearly these people are here to write their stories and to write shows and movies around experiences that they could understand, providing all kinds of incredible perspectives and representation. But because there is that fighting, it's like it seems like there's a lot now, but oh my god, there could be so much more.
Right, right.
And there's nothing wrong with that, but people want to find something wrong with it. It's
They do.
conditioning. Yet
E-
again, conditioning. It's messed up, man. The brain
ev-
is a powerful thing and it's malleable too.
Everybody wants to be mad at something, or make, I guess,
It's
grandma
like,
happy. I don't know, man. It
it's a yeah.
is.
It's like I'm a pretty radical person in my views. I would say I'm an abolitionist and a socialist and all this stuff, and uh,
I'm an
I am,
anarchist. What's up? Let's start a club.
and I yeah, I actually like I have levels. I'm like communism on a local level, socialism on a grander level, and then a little bit of anarchy in the government.
A lot of
Like
anarchy
I
in the
want to just
government.
tear it down, start over from scratch. There's no like editing and adding at this point. It's like we gotta put a stop to the whole thing, shut down the studio.
Well, this is a
We're
point this
bringing in a new set.
this is a point that I like to make often when talking about politics. Especially, you get these diehard gun nuts that are so like, oh, you're not going to take away my rights, Constitution says. And it's
Oh
like,
no.
well, these rules and like these laws were written at a time when they had no idea what the future was going to be like, you know, and like they're just such
Yep.
outdated concepts. Even like voting, going down to vote, like we have technology, everybody's got a cell phone or a computer. Like there's no reason we can't just, hey, Friday night, like announcement, United States, on Friday night we're going to have a vote. You know, if you want to be a part of it, you need to pull up your cell phone or your computer and vote on this issue, instead of having to go down to a polling place and stuff like that. And everybody's argument is, oh, well, people can hack the system and do. Well, people have been doing that with the regular polls for,
Oh,
you know, God
that's
knows
y'all have
long
been
how
yeah,
long.
y'all are accusing that already. Like what is the difference? I do think like I do love the mail-in ballot too, which is fairly easy to set up, and probably walk-ins would be good to keep because I just think of like accessibility because I've been that person who's like, I broke my phone and we're just without that and access to a lot of
Right.
things for a while. But no, I still think that would be good because that does add an avenue of accessibility for so many more people, and that would make things so wonderful. Yeah, no, we're in a similar mind there with the anarchy situation for sure. I have a little combination of things, and
I watched
I
a
may be too
video.
radical for some people, but you know they can just.
I
I
watched a
don't care.
video. I watched a video the other day and it blew my mind. It was a guy at a podium. I think it was like CNN or C-SPAN or some shit. And this dude is standing at the podium and he's like reading off all of these criminal charges. And at the bottom of the screen it says NBA or NFL. And so it's like listing all these arrests and like public intoxication and like domestic violence charges and all this shit. And it's like at the end of it, it's like, do you think that's the NBA or do you think that's the NFL? And then the guy goes, it's neither. That's Congress. And my brain almost blew out of the back of my skull. I was
Oh
like,
my
how are these
God.
fucking people in power? Like,
Yeah,
why?
no, I mean, look at our last president.
That is so true.
The shining
so
example.
The shining
Oh
example
man.
of like the everybody, I don't know, representation is not, the representation's not good, and the people that are in power in place are not good either, you know. And there's two people in Congress that are over the age of 80, and it's like, what the fuck are they doing there? Like,
Yeah, well, I mean, they can't live off of retirement. Welcome to America.
they have, I'm sure they have millions of dollars squirreled away.
No,
True. I think they'll be okay for 20.
I think so as well. I just thought of that for a second. And I'm like, well, yeah, retire. And I'm like, man,
Yeah.
here's a point to make about America.
Dude, you want to pay me $174,000 a year to fall asleep in a room full of people every day? Fuck yeah, let's go. I'll be in Congress.
Oh my god.
It just blows my mind. And like you said, you have to have the joy. I believe in my heart that at some point things are going to get better. The right people are studying every day and going to school and trying to get in these political positions of power to like make some real change. And I have to believe that, like you said, the more ripple effects that there are, the more that these issues are being talked about, and the more that we're spreading awareness and love is going to propel us into that future, you know?
Yeah.
And I like that's it. That's all I got, man. I had, because like you said, if we don't hold on to that and like keep fighting and doing something, then what's the point?
And what's the point? Yeah, that's always my I really like disaster movies and post-apocalyptic movies. Not even necessarily because of the story. I like it for the cinematic value. I really like film and editing, and it's fun. I'm like, oh wow, the creativity of this. What are they going to do with the Statue of Liberty in this one? It's really fun and
You
silly
damn
because
dirty apes!
it's so ridiculous and over the top, and I love that.
Charlton Heston was not a good
slightly-
person, though. We can
No,
separate
no.
we can separate the art from the artist. The movies are
I didn't
memorable.
even remember that was him, honestly.
Yeah.
In my mind, I was thinking of Geostorm, pretty much anything that Gerard Butler.
Oh, there
He's
you
been
go.
in quite a few disaster movies, and I love that. I slightly forgot. Oh no. Okay, I remember. So in a lot of post-apocalyptic movies, there'll be this thing where like we have to have survival of the fittest to rebuild humanity, and it's just awful and weird. And I'm like, what is the point of even bothering to keep humanity around if you're going to lack the humanity part of it? You know what I mean?
Exactly.
That never
Exactly.
makes sense to me or connects to me. It connects in my brain, and so yeah, I'm very. That's a driving part, That's what partially drives me to
I
be
have
passionate about that.
a very left turn question based
Yeah,
on the
let's go.
apocalypse things. Okay, we're about to change topics here for a
Oh,
second.
I'm excited. I'm excited.
Okay,
Let's go.
so with apocalypse movies, I have this theory, you know, like because every day some more weird and awful shit is happening in real life, and it feels like we're
Oh yeah.
moving ever closer towards our own apocalypse.
Oh
But
yeah.
we all love apocalypse movies, so like, are we romanticizing these movies and these TV
Oh
shows into
yes.
creating our own apocalypse? Essentially, do you think so?
Well, I mean, kind of, yeah. Like it is romanticized tragedy, which is why I was like, it's not so much for the story that I like it or anything, or the horrible things that do happen in the movies. It's the production value, the cinematic value that
Right.
people, the creativity of like what people are. It's why I like horror so much. Is it's like a sandbox of film creativity.
It
It's
is, yeah.
really fun.
But also, you
Um,
find yourself in those like zombie movies. You're like, what would I do in a zombie
what would I
apocalypse?
do? Oh yeah, I mean,
How would I
Walking
do this
Dead.
differently? Yeah,
The Walking Dead. What would I do? That's that whole show. Walking Dead is a soap opera with zombies to some extent, but
it is.
but it has a lot of like they there's some pretty good depictions, I would say, of human behavior in some pretty messed up, distressing situations. Because sometimes it's not even about the zombies at all, and it's just about people struggling in an unbelievable situation.
Right.
And I really liked The Walking Dead because I love the zombie genre. I thought it got a little repetitive over time. Like, kind of, they just started
Oh
playing the
man,
same story
they
formula.
did. They totally did the last couple of seasons, but then the last season, I don't. Are you? Have you finished it?
I haven't finished it. I do want to
Okay.
finish it. Ever since they did announce like that was going to happen, I'm like, all right, well, if it's finally ending, then
Yeah.
I will finish it up.
There
Um,
there were some big announcements at the end of it. So I'm really excited to see where the universe goes from here. So I would
ooh,
suggest when you have
ooh.
time, you should finish it because it's worth it.
Yeah, I
It's
I
worth
do
it. Yeah.
I do think so. It's for me. It's not even just the time. I realized when it came to The Walking Dead, I used to be able to like take it in so well, and I got my partner into it. He's not really a big fan of horror stuff, but I'm like, it's like Game of Thrones. Let's go through television history. That's what
Yeah.
this is. Like there is good storylines here. The comics were good.
Oh, the
Um,
comics were phenomenal. I watched
Comics were great. They
I
should have ended it with the comics, like where the comics did. I
I
feel like,
I don't know now. I felt that way before I saw
yeah.
it. I
Oh
felt
well,
that
that's
way.
fair. Yeah, yeah. There's
I
more that I don't know.
I was disappointed when I saw like how far they were veering from the comics, but then like the show ended and I was like, well, I'm okay with this.
Spoilers part. Spoilers part. I I really seriously struggle to get too far past Glenn's death. That I was really hoping they were going to change from the comics, because
Right.
that, honestly, all of that, it's like, even thinking about it nauseates me. It's weird how sometimes I do get so attached to a character, and even like the actor, I really like his work.
Right.
And I actually loved Glenn, I think, in the show even more than the character in the comics. And I also
Oh, most
have this
definitely. Yeah.
I have a huge fear of, like, I very much love my partner. We've been together for a good chunk of time, and he's not like my whole world or anything that toxic, but he is my partner. My we're on the same team. We share a world together, and Maggie and Glenn, they they're kind of like, that's what I want to have, and now I have something kind of like that, like their connection. And I have a lot of like weird personal traumas with, I hate watching in movies where a couple that's really truly in love with each other and invested with each other, something horrible happens to one of them.
So
And
it's
it's
like
even worse when it's something horrible happens in front of the person they love. Oh, it's
yeah,
so hard for me. It's
it's like
so
a
hard for
trigger.
me.
Yeah. No,
And it's yeah, I'm like, I want to
I
finish it, but that fucks me up.
I totally understand that, and that I no, I can't spoil anything. I can't spoil anything, but I will just say that it's not.
It does sound worth it.
It never just gets left behind. Let me just say that.
Okay, okay,
That
okay.
it never just gets left behind. Okay, it's not just like, oh shit, that was a really shitty thing that happened, and then we're never going to talk about it again. It gets explored a lot through the later seasons. So
Okay, well
I'll say
that's a little, I guess, better to
that.
know. I will say, something else I think that bummed me out before I found out, before they announced that they were ending the series. I remember when they were advertising on TV Rick Grimes' last episode. And I think I said it earlier that Daryl Dixon was my favorite character. He's like second favorite. Rick Grimes, weirdly enough, from the beginning has been my favorite.
Right,
Which the main character of stories is almost never my favorite character. It's
right,
strange. I'm usually like they're kind of like basic average, like that's sort of their role. But
right.
no, oh my god, I liked his character and then fell in love with him more and more. I'm sad when I saw Rick Grimes' last episode. I was like, well, then what the fuck is the point? The show is Rick Grimes. So I don't know. They may have done that creatively, interestingly. I don't know like the twists of that yet, but it did
I'll,
bum me
I'll
out to see
all
that.
I'm gonna say, because I literally cannot say anything else without spoilers. All I'm gonna say, Stellar, is trust the process. That's
Okay,
all I'm gonna say.
okay,
Trust the process.
okay.
Keep watching. Keep watching, because like it's just they know what they're doing. Okay,
That's good to hear
anytime
because
anytime they do.
Game Grumps, Game of Thrones, Game of Thrones burned me. Game of Thrones burned me real bad, and so I'm like, I'm just,
Game of Thrones
I'm
came out before the last season of Game of Thrones came out before the last season of Walking Dead. They know what they're doing, and anything you feel, that's why I love The Walking Dead so much. Is anything you feel about that show as it's happening, they know what the fuck they're doing. They know
that's good to know because, like I said, the writers of Game of Thrones let me way down, so I was worried that the writers of Walking Dead were just kind of
no.
it was just
They're
not going anymore.
the
But that's
be-
good to know.
like
Good, good.
the best way to put it is like I think there's like one or two filler seasons where you're kind of like where's the show going, what are they doing? They do
Yeah,
have that does happen, but I think they are well aware of that, and then towards the end like they give you the closure that you need, the want that you need.
okay,
So
okay.
and they kind of
Oh,
fix that and they make up for it, but I think they knew, because like I'm sure a lot of it is like some of the actors and stuff have other projects they want to do and stuff
yeah,
like that.
they've been on it for a
They have
long
been
time.
on it for a long time. Well, Stellar, we are now at an hour and 1 minute, so as much as I
Ooh,
hate to do
we do
this,
need to. Can I
we're
say one last thing?
we are
In the world
I
of
was gonna
zombie television. Sorry,
yes,
you
no
continue.
no
You
no, you
continue
say
first.
that first, then we'll wrap to the other thing, because I am gonna
Uh,
ask you to say something.
in the world of zombie television, which I guess there actually is surprisingly more than you would think. The
Right.
Last of Us it is one of the best pieces of television I have ever seen in my life.
Yes.
And and on that note, the video game series itself, it was actually produced on a cinematic level. It was produced more as like a movie than a game, which caused some problems with time crunch and stress for employees, but that's, another thing.
Right.
Uh, but it was an incredible story, and I love the way the show is doing it. So please go watch it and talk to me about it, everyone.
Yikes. Okay, well, real quick, I have a confession to make. I am probably one of
Okay.
the only people in the world I did not like the video game. I thought it was really pretty,
Oh no!
and
I love the story so much.
I thought it was really pretty. I was not. It came out around the same time as Logan, and like the whole like grizzled dude with like little girl in tow, like the storyline, and just like the mushroom people felt like just like a cliche. Like they're zombies, but they're not zombies. They're mushroom people,
I
and
thought
like
the fungus thing was so cool.
the mechanics, the show makes it seem way cool. I love the show. Let me say, I absolutely
Okay,
love the
okay.
show, and I love how close it is to the video games. But for whatever reason, I
Yes.
didn't like the game. I like the show a lot, and I love Pedro Pascal. The dude can do no wrong. He
I
is
think I agree.
he's daddy.
I think that for me, I never played the games. I watched them. And that's Last of Us's thing is that it it was created to be more of a cinematic piece. It
Yeah.
was more about watching it, and so the show like grasps that really well. Like
Yeah.
it's a show,
and
like it's
and
that kind of thing.
and the way the show digs into like some of the characters that you didn't necessarily get to see those stories in the game is so
Yes.
wonderfully done. I loved every second. I love the show.
The
um
podcasts that they're doing is really incredible, where they expound on that, how they don't get to tell some parts of stories in video games because it's just not possible with the structure of a video game.
right.
So they're like, we get to actually have that creative liberty in a television series, and they're doing perfectly with it. I haven't seen the
That is
latest
awesome.
episode, but that's happening tonight.
Yeah, I'm excited that we are gonna watch that tonight for sure. Okay, so this is normally how I end the podcast. I'm gonna put you on a pedestal or on a podium, and
Oh,
I'm gonna say that you are standing in front of 1,000,000 people right now, and you get to say your piece. You get to say your message. You get to say your piece, whatever you want to talk about, whatever you want to say. But if you had one chance to say something to 1,000,000 people, what would you say?
hmm.
Let me take a drink of my 5-gallon
Yeah,
water.
sorry. That was it. That was it. That's what I know. Hydrate.
Perfect.
No,
Perfect. Nailed it.
when you asked that, when you started asking that, there's a drag queen entertainer named Trixie Mattel who makes a joke about if she went up on stage to accept an award, like a Grammy or an Oscar, that she would just lean in real close to the microphone and say "fuck her right in the pussy" and walk off stage. So that's what I almost did. But that would be stealing it. Oh man, you know what? Just stop acting like assholes.
That's awesome.
I
I
don't
love
mean
it.
to be like, so like, I don't mean that in an angry way, but like stop being assholes and like listen to people when they're going through shit, like communities of people, because communities are not monolithic in their thoughts, in their beliefs, in their opinions. So
Yeah.
you can't just accept feedback from one or two people from a marginalized community. You need to put yourself out there, following and watching artists, people of color, queer people, trans people, intersex people. That's the intersex flag right there. Because there's so much erasure and avoidance and silence on supposed allies' behalf that is truly deadly. Um, I hate to be all John Hammond from Jurassic Park here, where he's walking up, people are dying, like, not to make light of it, but that is what's happening. And the more you stand by and just watch that happening and watch that pass by, well, you know, you kind of just allowed space maybe for somebody else to be hurt. You have to talk, you have to speak up, you
Right.
have to, even if it's something as simple as just providing comfort and actually listening to a friend and what they're going through. There's so
Exactly.
much that you can do. And yeah, just listen to many voices. Don't just listen to a couple here and there, and go out of your way to look for this stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. So have an open mind and love people equally. I think that is
Please
I think that is a wonderful message. I think thank
be
you.
be excellent to each other.
Be excellent to each other. You're breathtaking. No, you're breathtaking.
Oh, oh, you're breathtaking.
Well, Stellar, thank you again. Thank you again for being my friend. Thank you again for doing this and being a part of this. Because this is my gift to the world. This is my gift to my friends. I love doing this. I love lifting up my friends and giving them a comfortable space to talk and be themselves and get their message out there. And I just thank you for being
Thank
you.
you. Oh, I seriously appreciate this. The minute you messaged me about this, I was on it. Like, absolutely, absolutely. I want to be a part of this because you have been an incredible friend and supporter. And yeah, no, I thank you for this. Thank you for creating this space. Thank you for your growth in so many ways. I'm honored to be here.
Thank you. Well, I love you,
I
and
love you too.
Thank you guys for watching in the audience. Please, if you have comments, please comment your comments on anything except for my dislike of the Last of Us video game. That is off limits.
Blame him, everybody. Read his rights.
Until next week, this has been Wonder Bathos.